Even if some things go wrong in your self-defense encounter, if you do enough right, you can come out on top. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of South Africa that was actually sent to me by the person involved in the video. We're going to learn some incredibly important lessons today about protecting ourselves against an armed robber group and multiple attackers. Number two, we're going to learn about the importance of vetting your carry position and being able to get your firearm out in a hurry. And number three, why we talk about putting shots on target and knowing that your ammunition meets those FBI specs effectively. So these guys coming up are guards, and what happened here is they have seen some guys on their surveillance footage and their cameras that are outside milling about that are acting suspiciously. So when they come outside, we're gonna see why, because he comes out here on the right-hand side and the guy on the left sees him, draws a gun and just starts pointing it at him, and now they're inside and trying to rob this business. Now these guards are armed, but the guy that just came out, his is in a fanny pack and can't be seen, but this other guard here who's on screen right now is actually, you can see his gun, it is openly carried. So what we're gonna see here is the bad guys are gonna come up, and the guy in the light color there, he's the one who has the gun on him. And now it's interesting that the guy who sent me this, who is right now the guy who's struggling towards the left, he said that he could tell that guy's gun was out of battery, so he went for his gun, which is a 44 mag carried in a fanny pack. Now the other guy here doesn't want him, he's trying to get his fanny pack off him, but the guy gets a gun out of it, puts a shot in that guy, and now he starts putting shots in the guy who had the gun to begin with, who had actually transitioned to the gun that he took off the security guard, but he wasn't able to use it. And our victim here, you can see, puts the first shot in this guy, and then he's gonna put 4 out of 4 in the other guy. Kind of used cover a little bit, which is kind of rare for us to see, and he maybe, wouldn't have been great, and the range officer would have yelled at him in IDPA, but he did the good job that he can, drove the guy off. Now, we'll see that again here from the other side, is he's using that cover one-handed there, kind of came back around it, used it two-handed, again, put every shot through him. Now, you do want to say that one of the things that he told me is that as he drove that guy off, and you're going to see here, he's shooting this 44 mag with hand load, jacketed hollow points, and every one of them went through the guy. Not a single one of them expanded and stayed in him. They all went through him. So you want to make sure that your defensive ammo is really good. But he drove those guys off, and the guy that was in the light color there, he took the room temperature challenge about 70 yards from the front door. Okay, some lessons out of this one that I think are significant. Number one, as these guys come up here, they're kind of like, man, is there trouble or whatever? And sometimes it's just going to come your way. I mean, I don't know that I would have gone to the door here with a gun drawn, and then the guy's got a gun in your face, and you cannot draw from the drop. So I think he made an excellent decision there to go, whoa, man, I got to wait for my turn. Even if these guys are trying to rob us, I got to figure out what the best thing to do is here. Now, the security guard who had the drop on him, he just kind of is like putting his hands up or whatever, and we're going to see our bad guy is going to take a gun off of him, takes his gun away from him and tucks it underneath his arm. Kind of hard to see from the angles there, but I got that from the guy who sent me this footage. Is the security guard who ends up pulling the 44 mag here. Now he goes to try to get his gun out. It's in his fanny pack. They call them moon bags in South Africa, and he's having a heck of a hard time. And friends, I can't tell you enough, no matter where you carry your firearm, you must vet your carry position. You must know how to reliably and accurately draw it. My suggestion is to get to a standard of no more than a 2-second draw from concealment, and you better be able to do it every single time, which is why I don't recommend purses or fanny packs and stuff like that. You can see how much trouble he's having here getting his gun out, and that almost cost him everything. Thankfully, I don't think this guy thought he had a gun in there, but it was just his valuables. But he does finally get it out, and you can see he got it out just before the perp got his fanny pack off of him. He almost lost his gun with that, and he put a shot in that guy, and that guy ended up having to go to the hospital, and it didn't incapacitate him, but it did make him want to stop fighting. Now we're going to see our good guys start putting shots in this other guy, one-handed and two-handed, and it was enough to drive him off. Can't imagine how loud a 44 mag was inside there. Now, I do think that this is interesting. He did kind of duck back behind concealment, not cover necessarily, but concealment. Although I will say it looks like he's kind of half using that cover there, half using that concealment. And we'd, of course, recommend use as much as you possibly can, though, of course, very, very difficult to do in a real gunfight. See him come around there with one hand. And we say this all the time. It's far better to put two hands on the gun if you possibly can for marksmanship and for fast and accurate shooting. So train yourself to do that regularly and all the time. And our good guy actually does that here. He thinks about it a second, gets two hands back on the gun, so good on him for that. Uses his concealment fairly effectively. Now our bad guy here, he comes over and he tries to take a shot, but it doesn't work, and thankfully he had taken this gun off of the one of the other guards and didn't realize it had a safety and couldn't use it because our good guy was right. His gun was actually jammed. They recovered both of those for that. So sometimes you get a little bit of luck in the mix as well. All things considered, a couple things to work on, but our guard and his friends did enough to drive these guys off, had enough rounds to make it happen, and he covered his asp.